A grizzly bear can weigh more than 600 kilograms. An African elephant outweighs a human by over 50 times. A tiger can sprint faster than an Olympic athlete. So why do so many wild animals run away the moment they notice a single unarmed person? The answer isn't fear of our strength, it's fear of what humans became over hundreds of thousands of years. Most predators kill only when they're hungry. Humans were different. We hunted with planning, memory, cooperation, and eventually technology. Long before guns or cities existed, the natural world had already begun learning a dangerous lesson. If you see a human, leaving early is often the safest decision. At first glance, humans don't look particularly intimidating. We have no sharp claws. Our teeth are tiny compared to those of lions or wolves. We can't outrun deer, overpower bison or wrestle bears. Drop an unarmed human into the wilderness, and countless animals appear better equipped for survival. Yet evolution isn't impressed by appearances. What matters is survival. Early Homo species, followed later by Homo sapiens, developed an extraordinary hunting strategy that almost no other land predator used. Instead of relying on explosive speed, they depended on endurance. Humans evolved long legs, spring-like tendons, efficient sweat glands, and the ability to regulate body temperature while running under the hot sun. Many mammals cool themselves by panting, forcing them to slow down when temperatures rise. Humans could continue moving long after other animals needed to rest. Anthropologists call this persistence hunting. Imagine an antelope spotting a hunter and sprinting away. The immediate danger seems over. 10 minutes later, the human is still following. An hour passes, the hunter hasn't given up. The animal runs again, burning even more energy. This cycle repeats until exhaustion begins overcoming speed. The final chase may have looked almost unfair. The fastest animal wasn't defeated by greater speed. It was defeated by greater endurance. For any species that experienced this strategy repeatedly over generations, humans became something entirely unfamiliar in the natural world, a predator that simply refused to stop. But endurance alone doesn't explain why animals remain so cautious around us. The real advantage came from cooperation. Long before agriculture, ancient humans hunted in organized groups. Archaeological evidence from sites across Africa and Eurasia shows coordinated hunting of large animals stretching back hundreds of thousands of years. Different members of the group could track footprints, predict escape routes, drive herds toward natural traps, or wait silently in ambush while others flushed animals from cover. Now picture the situation from the animal's perspective. Escaping one predator is difficult enough. Escaping several predators communicating with each other is something entirely different. Unlike wolves, humans weren't limited by instinct alone. They could change tactics, remember previous hunts, and teach younger generations what worked and what failed. Every successful hunt became knowledge that survived long after the hunters themselves were gone. This ability transformed humans into what many behavioral ecologists describe as a super predator. Not because we possessed the sharpest teeth or the strongest muscles, but because our intelligence multiplied the effectiveness of every individual in the group. The consequences reached far beyond the animals we actually hunted. Even species that rarely became prey learned to associate humans with danger. Natural selection favored individuals that noticed people earlier, fled sooner, and survived long enough to produce offspring carrying those same cautious tendencies. That process unfolded over thousands of generations, and it permanently changed the way countless wild animals respond to the sight of a human being. The next discovery makes this even more remarkable, because modern scientific experiments reveal that many animals fear humans more than they fear lions, wolves, or bears. How frightened are wild animals of humans? Researchers decided to find out with an unusual experiment. In several protected areas across Africa, scientists played recordings of different sounds through hidden speakers. Some speakers broadcast the growls of lions, others the barking of dogs, and others the normal voices of people having everyday conversations. Motion-triggered cameras then recorded how nearby wildlife reacted. The results surprised even the researchers. Many species fled far more quickly after hearing human voices than after hearing the sounds of natural predators. Elephants, giraffes, leopards, hyenas, zebras, warthogs, rhinos, and numerous antelope species often abandoned the area almost immediately when they detected humans. In many cases, they reacted more strongly to people than to lions, the very predators that had hunted them for countless generations. Think about what that means. A lion represents an immediate physical threat, yet many animals judged an unseen human voice to be even more dangerous. Why? Because lions usually hunt only when they need food. Humans have historically hunted for food, protection, territory, valuable materials, and, in more recent times, From an animal's perspective, predicting human behavior became nearly impossible. When survival depends on making split-second decisions, caution wins. Running away from a harmless person wastes energy. Failing to run from a dangerous one can end an entire bloodline. Fear doesn't always have to be learned through direct experience. Sometimes it spreads across generations. Many animals possess an extraordinary ability to learn from one another. Young elephants closely watch older members of the herd. Young primates copy the alarm calls and escape behaviors of experienced adults. Deer, wolves, birds, and countless other species rely on social learning to recognize danger long before encountering it themselves. Imagine a young elephant seeing its family suddenly turn and retreat the moment humans appear on the horizon. The calf may not understand why, but it learns the response. Years later, it repeats that same behavior with its own offspring. Knowledge becomes inheritance. In other cases, evolution itself reinforces the lesson. Individuals that reacted slowly to humans were less likely to survive in regions where hunting pressure remained high. Those that fled quickly had a better chance of living long enough to reproduce. Over many generations, natural selection gradually favored heightened caution around people. Of course, this pattern isn't identical everywhere. On isolated islands where humans arrived only recently, many animals originally showed little fear at all. The famous dodo of Mauritius evolved without large land predators and reportedly approached people with little hesitation. Similar behavior occurred among several flightless birds and island mammals across the world. Their trust proved catastrophic. Within surprisingly short periods after human arrival, many of those species disappeared forever through hunting, introduced predators, or habitat destruction. For countless other animals, evolution delivered a brutally simple message. The ones that survived learned to fear humans before humans ever got close enough to touch them. And the next part of this story becomes even stranger because some of the world's largest and most dangerous animals now avoid humans despite being physically capable of killing us with ease. Consider the African elephant. An adult bull can weigh more than 6,000 kilograms. A single swipe of its trunk or a charge at full speed could easily kill a person. By every physical measure, humans should be the ones living in fear. Yet in many parts of Africa and Asia, elephants often change direction the moment they detect people. Researchers studying elephant behavior have documented herds becoming noticeably quieter after sensing nearby humans. They may bunch together, move into thicker vegetation, or leave an area altogether. In regions with a long history of hunting or conflict, elephants frequently travel more at night than during the day, reducing the chances of encountering people. This isn't cowardice, it's risk management. Elephants possess exceptional memories. Individuals can remember locations, migration routes, water sources, and dangerous encounters for many years. A herd that has experienced poaching or aggressive human activity may alter its behavior long afterward, and younger elephants learn those responses by following experienced adults. The largest land animal on Earth doesn't avoid humans because it lacks strength. It avoids uncertainty. The same pattern appears beneath the ocean. Sharks have become symbols of fear in popular culture. Yet, the relationship between humans and sharks is very different from what many people imagine. Most shark species are not actively hunting humans, and documented attacks remain extremely rare compared with the countless encounters that occur every year. In fact, many sharks avoid divers whenever possible. Large marine mammals, such as whales, also show complex reactions to people. In areas where commercial whaling once devastated populations, certain species became noticeably more cautious around boats. Generations of intense hunting altered behavior that scientists can still observe today. Even predators at the very top of the food chain adjust their actions based on experience. Orcas provide another remarkable example. They are among the most intelligent hunters on the planet, capable of coordinating attacks on seals, dolphins, and even great whales. Yet there are no verified records of wild orcas deliberately killing humans in the wild. Their intelligence allows them to distinguish between different kinds of encounters. Curiosity does not automatically become aggression. This reveals something important. Animals don't simply classify humans as prey or predators. They evaluate us as something far more unpredictable. A wolf generally behaves like a wolf. A lion behaves like a lion. Humans can arrive peacefully one day, carrying food or simply passing through. Another group may arrive later with traps, spears, bows, firearms, chainsaws, vehicles, or machines that transform an entire landscape. From an animal's perspective, that inconsistency makes us uniquely difficult to understand, and that may be one of the biggest reasons wild creatures choose the safest option available. Leave before the human gets close enough to reveal what kind of human it is. The next chapter becomes even more surprising because not every animal fears people. Some have learned to exploit us instead, turning humanity into one of the greatest opportunities nature has ever produced. If humans are so frightening, why do pigeons walk between our feet, foxes wander through cities, and raccoons open garbage bins as if they own the neighborhood? Because evolution rewards flexibility. Not every species responds to humans in the same way. Animals that can separate danger from opportunity often gain enormous advantages. Cities provide steady food, fewer natural predators, warmer microclimates, and countless hiding places. For adaptable species, humans accidentally created entirely new ecosystems. Crows are among the best examples. Scientific studies have shown that crows can recognize individual human faces and remember them for years. If a person repeatedly threatens them, they begin giving alarm calls whenever that individual appears. Other crows quickly learn the warning, even if they have never encountered the person before. The remarkable part is that they also remember kindness. People who regularly feed crows often find the birds approaching them calmly while remaining wary of strangers. The birds aren't reacting to humanity as a whole. They're evaluating specific individuals based on experience. That level of discrimination reveals just how sophisticated animal behavior can be. Fear isn't always automatic. Sometimes it's calculated. Now compare two forests. One lies deep inside a national park where hunting has been prohibited for decades. The other sits only a few kilometers away but experiences regular hunting by people. The animals living in those forests often behave completely differently. Researchers have repeatedly observed that deer, wild boar, elk, and many other mammals allow humans to approach much more closely in protected areas than in places where hunting pressure remains high. The species haven't changed. Their experience has. Behavioral ecologists call this the landscape of fear. Every environment contains invisible maps of perceived danger. For prey animals, those maps usually include predators such as wolves or big cats. Increasingly, they also include humans, whose influence often extends much farther than their physical presence. Some animals even adjust their daily schedules. In regions with frequent human activity, species that normally move during daylight become more active after sunset. Scientists have documented this shift in mammals across multiple continents. By becoming nocturnal, they reduce the chance of crossing paths with people while still exploiting the same habitat. Think about what that means. Without building a single fence, humans have changed when countless animals sleep, hunt, feed, and travel. We haven't simply entered nature. We've altered its timetable. And the final part of this story reveals perhaps the most unsettling truth of all. The fear many animals show toward humans isn't merely the result of instinct or ancient evolution. In many places, it's a lesson they continue learning today. Walk through a remote rainforest where humans are almost never seen, and the experience can feel surprisingly different. Animals may watch instead of fleeing. Birds often continue feeding. Curious primates sometimes remain in the trees, studying the unfamiliar visitor. In parts of the world where wildlife has experienced little direct persecution, fear is often replaced by cautious observation. Now compare that with landscapes shaped by centuries of hunting. The contrast is striking. Studies have shown that animals living under frequent hunting pressure generally detect humans sooner, flee at greater distances, and spend less time feeding when people are nearby. Those extra moments of vigilance come at a cost. Every second spent watching for danger is a second not spent eating, resting, or caring for young. Humans have become what ecologists sometimes call a super predator, because our impact extends far beyond the number of animals we directly kill. The mere possibility of encountering people can alter movement patterns, reproduction, feeding behavior, and even the distribution of entire populations across a landscape. Fear itself has become an ecological force. Yet one mystery still remains. If humans are so dangerous, why did some animals choose to live alongside us instead of running away? The answer is that evolution doesn't reward fear alone. It rewards the behavior that offers the greatest chance of survival. Thousands of years ago, certain wolves discovered that staying near human camps provided easy access to discarded food. The boldest but least aggressive individuals gained an advantage. Over countless generations, that relationship evolved into the domestic dog, the first animal to transform humanity from a threat into a partner. Cats followed a different path. As agriculture spread, grain stores attracted rodents. Rodents attracted wildcats. Humans tolerated the cats because they protected valuable food supplies, and gradually a mutually beneficial relationship emerged. These species didn't stop recognizing danger. They simply discovered that understanding humans could be more valuable than avoiding them completely. The same principle appears today in urban foxes, gulls, monkeys, bears, and many other adaptable animals. They constantly balance risk against reward, deciding whether a human represents food, indifference, or danger. That calculation changes every single day, and in the final chapter we'll discover what this says about humanity itself. Because the animals' fear of us may reveal something even more profound than our place at the top of the food chain. Perhaps the most unsettling discovery isn't that animals fear humans. It's that many of them can distinguish between different kinds of humans. Researchers have documented elephants responding differently to people based on clothing, scent, language, and previous experience in regions where certain groups historically posed greater danger than others. Some primates alter their alarm calls depending on whether they detect a familiar park ranger or an unknown person entering their territory. Urban birds often ignore pedestrians walking predictable routes but immediately react to someone behaving unusually. This tells us something extraordinary. Wildlife isn't simply reacting to a human silhouette. Every peaceful encounter teaches one lesson. Every act of violence teaches another. For highly intelligent animals, those lessons accumulate across years or even generations. So why are animals scared of humans? Because for hundreds of thousands of years, we became the one predator that almost never played by predictable rules. We could chase prey until exhaustion. We hunted together, shared knowledge across generations, invented increasingly powerful tools, crossed oceans, climbed mountains, entered forests, deserts, grasslands, and frozen tundra. Unlike other predators, we didn't remain confined to one habitat or one hunting strategy. We changed the environment itself. Animals adapted the only way evolution allowed. They became more watchful. They fled sooner. They learned from parents, herds, flocks, and painful experience. Some discovered that cooperation with humans offered incredible rewards, eventually becoming dogs, cats, horses, and countless other companions. Others survived by keeping as much distance as possible. Both strategies emerged from the same reality. Humans were unlike anything nature had encountered before. The irony is impossible to ignore. The species that learned to understand every corner of the natural world also became the creature that much of the natural world learned to avoid. The next time a deer disappears into the trees before you can get close, a flock of birds erupts into the sky at your approach, or an elephant quietly changes direction after sensing people in the distance, remember that you're witnessing a story written over hundreds of thousands of years. Their fear isn't simply about you. It's about the long memory of evolution, the accumulated weight of countless encounters, and the extraordinary rise of one hairless primate that reshaped the planet so completely that even its footsteps became a warning. That may be the clearest sign of humanity's success, and perhaps the clearest reminder of the responsibility that came with it.